Hello everyone, and welcome back to Misfits Racing League action. We are here at the start of the week. It is Tuesday evening, and it is time for the penultimate round of racing for Season 3 action. It is the Brazilian Grand Prix. Joining me, Unicorn, how you doing?
Oh, it's weird to say the penultimate round, but here we are, and well, Brazil, it's one of the best tracks on the calendar in my opinion. It's such a great circuit, and well, I'm looking forward to see how we kick things off here in EU. It's always an exciting grid to watch, and like I say, Brazil, what a track.
15 turns, 4.3 kilometers, and just an iconic circuit. Sao Paulo, of course, the home of the iconic circuit here in Brazil. And let's take a look at this calendar now. As we've said, it's the penultimate round. We've got one more to go after this. That's Abu Dhabi next week, December 15th, round 17 for this European split. But it is all about today, round 16, this Brazilian Grand Prix. A lot of people very excited for this one. We just recently came out of Mexico. Before that, it was the US, Japan, Russia, of course, Singapore, Italy, Belgium, Hungary, and then Britain. And we had 12 rounds ahead of that as well. You know, for EU, it would have been, I think, a few rounds ahead of that. Anyway, it's been a long season. It's been a long season. We'll say that much. Now, let's take a look at who is on the grid today. We have Jake and Whisper over at Mercedes, Hurricane and Ruben for Ferrari, Dirk Chocolate and Cotters over at Red Bull, Alexander and Kana for McLaren, Safso and Beavis for Renault, Stefan Tim over at AlphaTauri with Vettel and iFilipich for Racing Point, XTXP and Bajarn for the Alfa Romeo team. Now, no conviction, and Moen over at Haas, Baza and Adam rounding out the 20 drivers on the full-time roster over at Williams. Let's take a look at the standings, and I have it on some pretty good information that not the entirety of the full-time grid is present today. I guess it's the end of the season. Maybe people are feeling like it's done. Who knows? We'll have to see. There is going to be a full grid, however, from what I've been told. So let's take a look at the standings. iFilipich, 212 points there. And if I am not mistaken, he has now successfully clinched the European split title. So he is the Season 3 European champion for Misfits Racing League. Congratulations to him. His teammate, Angel, the Mexican driver, after a win around home, second in the standings. Once again, he's currently holding off Hurricane in the Ferrari. Hurricane, 132 points there in third. Tim, 3 points behind him, and Jake isn't too far back either. Kana, Rube, everyone's in close proximity here in the top 10. And Racing Point, Ferrari, and Mercedes, your top 3 in the constructors. Now, stewards taking a different approach to the report this week. There was a lot of incidents, quite a massive amount of incidents, realistically. So just make sure to drive your best. Come on, don't let your standards drop, you guys. Keep things clean, do what you can. And let's have a good old race here around Brazil. And with all that, Unicorn, I think we are just about set to go racing here in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, just seeing if we can get a couple more drivers into the lobby. So we've got a little bit of a fuller grid than we have at this exact second, but we're not too far away from that racing action. And well, like you said, the last couple of rounds, you know, there may be we've got the championship wrapped up, but there's still battling going on up and down the drivers' championship. So still. Yes. Battle Mine XL is a reserve for tonight's race. I do believe a debut drive for him here in this EU grid around Brazil. So late in the season, but you know, an excellent time for drivers to do a debut drive, because obviously, you know, we're about to end this season out, and well, some people may not wish to continue, and obviously a reserve role is an excellent way to showcase your ability on track. And we've had many cases where a debut is, you know, very, very well received, and they do excellently on the track.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. We've had some fantastic debuts throughout the season here, especially in the EU split. iFilipich was a driver who came late in the season, or at the very least, you know, in the middle of it, and as a result, with his speed and his consistency, was able to claim a nice title.
yeah, Philippe really has been very, very dominant this season, and well, you love to see that kind of pace come out of a driver, and I mean, it's very, very impressive. I don't believe that Philippe is driving here this evening to claim the title. Neither of the racing points here at the moment. Hopefully, on help if we can get him in. We've got 18 drivers right now. But
Oh. And just start the race. Got the green light to go now.
yeah, I think we can just about get underway. I think. But fingers crossed we can get underway and get a nice Brazilian Grand Prix. X6P is on his way, so fingers crossed we can. A few drivers he will join during quali, but I think with that being said, I think we can push it to qualifying and get the show on the road. There we are. Everyone's got the green light, and we will be getting
We lost
underway
a driver there.
for.
We have 17. But... Oh, have to join midway through if they get in at all. Well, here we go. Let's see. Round 16, European Division. We're into the qualifying session here. 18 minutes for these 17 drivers. Going to be an interesting session. Baza, Battlemine, XL, Beavis, No Conviction, Jake, Ruben, Tim, Dirk Chocolate, Cotters, as well as Moen for the top 10 on the timing tower at the moment. Nigel, Gadwin, Henners, as well as Hurricane, Neon, Crampy, and Bajarn all on the grid today as well.
Yeah, in Brazil, such an interesting circuit, and the run to the line we had last year IRL is just something, and it's something we saw on Saturday and around Mexico in the endurance race. We had an excellent run to the line here, and fingers crossed some sort of last minute action and action throughout the race as well as something that we could see through here. Neon in the chat is saying that there's going to be a wet race here, Striff.
Oh, well, that's a fantastic way to kick off the week. Wet weather. It's going to be thrilling. Absolutely thrilling. And 17 drivers are going to be taking to the circuit for that action here to begin the week for Brazil. And we're going to see who is out here. It's a battle between the two Williams. I think Baza, with a major desync, has just crashed himself through into a wall on the exit out of the pit lane. I have no idea if he's got damage. It doesn't appear he does, but this is going to put Henners through as the first car out of this pit lane.
Yeah, the pit exit with those close walls is a pretty unique one. You can see it sort of snake down on the track as well. So it's a very, very unique pit exit. It comes out, way down the track, almost at the entrance to Sector 2. So Brazil, one of the defining features of it. It's a very, very, just an interesting track all around. This Sector 2, difficult to overtake through, but a mistake here can be costly and let someone up the inside, and I'm sure we'll see that a couple of times in the coming laps and the coming days as well with the other grids. So And so we have the first flying lap. It's coming out of the Williams of Henners. Going through the opening chicanes, turns 1 and 2. A lot of a weave or a lag coming out of him there, at least on my screen. Turn 4 then. Into the turn 5, double left-hander. Down this long straight into a very, very fast right-hander. Turn 6. And that is a very, very dangerous place to go side by side. Possible, but it is very, very risky for these drivers. Then the snaking part of Sector 2. Turn 10 now. Coming back 180 on yourself, but not really a hairpin. A very drawn-out, slow corner. Throttle management pretty difficult through this section of track. Turn 12 into 13. Another fast left-hander, barely there. The final corner, or not the final corner, turn 14, which leads its way nicely. DRS zone into 15, hugging that pit wall as close as he can, and it's a 107.2 coming out of Henners to open this up.
It's a quick lap around here. 107.2, 108.095 out of Cotters in the Red Bull. Baza, the 108.642 in the partnering Williams. Taking a look on with Battlemine XL, he crosses a 109 flat in his debut. First time set from him. Now it's the South African Ruben. He's in that Ferrari, a 106.989. So that's a nice time out of him. No conviction, unfortunately, on an invalidated run. Nigel in the McLaren has just begun. He's just coming out of the first DRS zone. He has dropped the lap. Gadwin, he's coming down the hill. See what he's able to put across the line here, keeping things nice and tight on the cross, and it's on the mediums, a 109.369 out of the Finn.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple of invalidated laps as well, Striff, so a few drivers won't be getting a time as quickly as they'd like. Yeah, that bank a lap that makes people feel a little bit more comfortable. Bijan in the Alfa Romeo is coming into the final sector. Out of turn 10, or turn 12, sorry, up towards the finish line. This sweeping left corners. DRS wide open now. So 108.6 for it. It's P6 at the moment. And that's a couple of laps on the tyres as well. So he seems to have been struggling maybe with an invalidation.
No conviction. He invalidated his first run out. He has that low fuel light on. We'll see if he's pushing to set a lap or if he's pushing to get into the pit lane. The Mercedes of Jake now. He crosses into the front row. Nice time from him, a 107.166. No conviction. He jumps in with a 109.131. Dark Chocolate in the Red Bull charging through Sector 2. See what he's able to put ahead here onto the timing tower.
Yeah, Dirk, certainly a fan favourite. There's always a whole host of people cheering him on in the chat, and now looking to sort of continue a fairly good run of form. The USA, his best finish today, only a couple races ago, was that Nigel crosses second at 107.1, just over half a second quicker than Jake's time. Ruben's still the only driver to go sub 107. Dirk to the line, it's a 108.695.
Neon just about to start a lap, and Jake, his teammate, just ahead of him, may have benefited from a little bit of a slipstream heading down into turn 1 here. We'll have to see how it comes across the board. We have nothing to play with for personal bests, and it's an unfortunate invalidation coming through out of turn 2. And he's not going to be too thrilled about that. Tim now in the Alpha Tauri. First run of the session for him. It's a P4 effort, a 107.2. Very nicely done from Tim.
Yeah, Tim P4, that's exactly where he is in the standings as well, and that's one of those battles that I was on about before we got underway here, is that there is still P2 up for grabs in the championship, and Tim is one of the drivers locked in on that fight. Hurricane as well. Angel, not present here this evening, yet unable to defend that position, so we could see the racing point drop here by the end of the evening.
Beavis on his way into the pit lane now, not going to complete another lap, so we'll take a look on with who is. Henners is currently improving. He's coming through sector 2. Baza, his teammate. Henners is here in a reserve capacity today. He's up 1/10 coming through out of sector 2. And we'll have to see what the Williams is able to set here as he crosses the line. With that, he could improve potentially into 3rd. Let's see what it is. Henners. It's an improvement, but it is not enough to get him through 4th or 3rd.
Yeah, I think Dirk is still flying as well, and he's on for a... Well, he was on for a fairly good improvement. He seems to have lost it, or dropped the lap through the 2nd sector. But I was following with him, and he was on for a very good improvement out of sector 1. But maybe ERS being the cork in that bottle. Hurricane is flying, currently P16. Obviously no time set. 3rd in the standings, unable to win the Drivers' Championship. Well, like I said, that battle for P2 is still very well and truly here, and Hurricane, he'll be hungry for that place. He's had 3 wins over the course of the season.
Big improvement out of him, 3/10. He's 6 at the moment, 107.263 is the time. We're going to jump on with Hurricane as he gets set to finish out this lap. Ooh, the Ferrari to the line. Pole position out of Hurricane. It's a 1-2 for the Scuderia as things stand, and that's a 106.474 out of Hurricane. And he will be happy with that. Moen beginning a time now. Baza just ahead in the Williams. Well, one with that invalidation. XTXP is looking to get a lap time in here.
Here and now we do have the final 2 races, I do believe, in... Obviously, we finally have that full grid that we always cover. Hopefully have... I said that full grid, and... There we go. A6PI for pitch in the session as well.
Tim right now in the Alpha Tower, he's on a very impressive improvement. Nearly 2/10 he's found so far from what the sector read has told me. Hurricane pulling off just in sector 3. And it's a 10th coming through the split, so we'll see what he's able to do at the line here. He will not be able to improve with what he's got unless he finds something through sector 3. Oh, and he did. He found just what he needed to get into 4th position. He's now 400ths on the rear, well, pretty well 300ths on the rear of Jake.
Yeah, and those times are super close up in those top spots. You know, Tim and Jake, look at them. Pretty much joint at the hip right now. Barza's on for a pretty sizable improvement in the Williams. Almost half a second he's found through the first 2 sectors. Can he find any more?
Neon's crossed 6th quickest here now. 107.182 out of the Mercedes finally. The first run out of him.
was pretty much slap bang on half a second for Barza. P12 at the moment for the Williams he jumps into. Rubens flying as well in the Ferrari. He's just started and is coming down towards turn 4. 3/10 currently the gap to his teammate Hurricane, who currently holds on to that provisional pole position spot. Is an invalidation for him coming out of turn 7.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow there for the South African Henners right now. He's on a flyer and he's been getting gradual improvements, and right now he's looking for an improvement of 1:07.2 but it will not be this trip around the circuit. Filipic, who has now retaken his usual car, had a bit of an issue taking out the 50-meter braking sign before he begins a lap here. He's on the medium compound tires. Mario joined us as well in the racing point.
A last minute reserve there, so big thank you to him for filling that spot on the grid.
Last minute reserve, technically speaking. It is his full-time seat. Rumor is Mr. Filipic wants to retire now that he has a championship in F1 2020.
Putting a Nico Rosberg on us there.
Something like that. Big invalidation out of Filipic. Mario in the racing point on an out lap. Owen gets the time across now, 1:09.201, and take a look at the gap to leader right now from first. Hurricane on pole position, 1:06.474, the current pole time. From first down to 10th, it is 1 second the gap, and from 10th down, it is about 7/10. 17th, well, it's a 15th position.
And Mario now climbing the hill to set his first flying lap of the session. Although it doesn't seem to be the case. I think that might have been a visual glitch. No outlap timer because no time has popped up. No lap has been counted on his tyres, and it wasn't invalid either. So he looks to go around again with just under 3 minutes to go in the session on our timers.
This will be now his effective first lap. I think because he joined late, it didn't give us the outlap indicator, perhaps. I'm not entirely sure. But he is making his way up the hill.
Yeah, a lot of verticality in this track.
Hurricane has taken the option to now retire the car. He will not be improving. Alright, Mario now in the racing point. He's coming through Sector 3. This very, very flat out section of circuit, coming up and then down the hill. DRS wide open on the rear wing. Alright. The time from him, he drops the lap a little bit, I almost thought, and it's a 1:08.296. The Alfa Romeo. Was it Dirk that just jumped in there?
Oh, no, Dirk's crashed. Dirk's crashed out of the chicane. He's crashed into turn 2. So Dirk is out of this qualifying session. His best time was 14th, but now he's been overtaken by Jacques Bajan now, and he's falling down the grid as the fastest time starts to come in.
Jake has just begun a lap in the Mercedes. Neon right behind him, like he was getting a tow. 1:06.697. That puts him within 2/10 of Hurricane.
Yeah, huge improvement for Neon. Almost half a second he found there for that run. Very, very impressive stuff from him. His teammate Jake will be looking to do something similar. Henner's just in front of him, currently sitting on 1:07.2, and this sort of top 10 is very, very tight right now between all the drivers. Moen on an outlap, just ahead of Henner's. Oh, we wanted him to get out of the way. He pulls off nicely to let the Brit through. Coming into the final sector, what's the improvement? It's just over a tenth, so with how tight the grid is, this could be at least one place, if not 2 or 3, depending on if he's got time to find. In this final sector, the Williams now coming down towards the line. You can see him hugging this inside wall. It is less than 2 tenths, but it's still P4 for Henners.
A very good improvement. He really needed that. Somebody else who needs an improvement right now. Ruben wants to get himself back into that front row. They want that 1-2 lockout for the Ferraris. Filipic, a 109.1, the best he can do in the session so far here. We know he's capable of a lot more than that. He's set that time on the mediums. Of course, the back 10 will get free tire choice. There is still a variety of drivers still on flyers. Cotters is flying. I do not know if he'll be improving. Crampy, invalidated. Nigel is on a run looking to improve. Tim is looking to improve as well. Ruben's had an issue. He's had an issue just as he comes into Sector 3 here, as he makes his way up the hill on the grass. Very unfortunate for him. Moen. He's on a flyer now.
Yeah. Nigel and Tim as well. Currently 6th and 5th. Well, 6th and 7th, sorry. On the grid. Nigel just come out of turn 12 in the McLaren.
Moen improves. 108.818 out of Moen.
1.5 tenths for Nigel for P4.
Yeah, big time out of the McLaren here. Nigel will be thrilled about that.
Tim, though. Got him.
Yeah, he did. That's
almost 3 tenths.
That was a very, very good run out of the AlphaTauri. And when we look at things now, the gap to leader from first, that 106.474 Hurricane, a very nice time out of the Ferrari. The gap from him in that top spot to 10th position is 1 second. And I think that's going to give us a nice thrilling race. Of course, Unicorn, it was the second time you and I commentated together. It was Brazil. That was a thrilling race. Shenjay and the Bear, I think it was a battle of penalties in that one. I think we saw a timing glitch in that as well, where Shenjay had beaten Ben. There was something weird there, but anyway. Hurricane, pole position for him in the Ferrari. Neon lines up next to him, a 106.697 to contest that nice 106.474, and it's Ruben there in the top 3 with the other Ferrari. Tim in 4th with the AlphaTauri, and Nigel rounding out your top 5 with the McLaren. And of course, we'll go down through with the rest of this grid on the formation lap. What a qualifying that was.
Yeah, you'll notice everyone's on that soft compounded tire as well. I want to know what sort of conditions we're going to be greeted here with in the race. We know that there's some rain forecast. I don't know how much, I don't know how soon and how long it will last, but I know that there is some rain forecast. It's very cloudy, but it's not raining yet, Striff. We have a dry circuit as of right now, so they're going to start on those soft compound tires that they qualified on. Obviously, those outside the top 10 of that free tire choice, but when is that rain going to come? It is forecast. But that's going to be a very, very interesting dynamic in this race.
That is going to be massive race because Brazil already a difficult circuit to overtake, especially through Sector 2. A lot of your opportunities are coming down Sector 3, heading into that start-finish straight, Turn 1. Then you have Turn 4. And we have to see how that's really going to play here when that rain comes in. Because Sector 2 is going to be very, very harsh to deal with. And the question is, are we getting immediate conditions? Are we getting heavy conditions? Which rain conditions are we getting? And as you said, when? And these drivers will have a bit of a better idea now. We see still a significant amount of these racers in this back 10 jumping onto the medium compound tires. But before we look into the tires, let's take a look at who is on this grid and where. Hurricane on pole position. Neon lines up on the front row next to him. Just behind them in the rear view, we have Ruben and Tim. Following that, Nigel, Henners, Jake, Crampy, Beavis, as well as Cotters. And that's your top 10. Cotters out qualifying his teammate Dirk Chocolate today into that 10th slot. He'll be thrilled about it. Gadwin starting this race on the mediums in 11th. Battle Mine in his debut, 12th position on softs. Now, No Conviction, Bajarn, as well as Dirk Chocolate, 13 through 15. They're all, once again, on those yellow compound tires, those mediums. Baza, he's in 16th on the softs. And then we have Moen, Felipic, as well as his teammate Mario for this occasion in those racing points. And XTXP rounding out this grid. They're all on the mediums as well, Unicorns. So this is a very interesting strategy, considering we do have rain forecast. You can see the doom and gloom here in the sky. There is not a lot of sunshine happening right now around Sao Paulo. And these drivers are going to be speaking to Jeff quite often, I imagine, to figure out when that rain is coming.
Yeah, the mediums lead me to believe that the rain will be coming sooner rather than later, because no one's gone for the hards. No one's going to try and, stretch it to the hards, and the fact that there are a few softs outside that top 10 as well means that we're going to see a fairly early rain, I think.
Has had a disconnection of some degree here. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, fingers crossed he can get control of the car before the lap ends out.
Back in. Question is, will he be back in time to join and get things underway here? The final car now to the rear of this grid. The lights are on. The engines are revving here in Brazil. And there goes the AI-controlled car of Neon. You hate to see it, but these lights now are away for these drivers. Neon will not receive a drive-through penalty. However, maybe there's a way for him to get himself back into his position, but we're away. There's already some early volley for position as we come through turn 1. Ooh, it's very tight. That's the AlphaTauri and the Mercedes battling. There's a big spin. The Williams and oh no! So they've come together.
Oh, and the other Williams of Bars has just been he slammed his car straight into the wall. He got caught up with, I want to say, one of the racing points. Speaking of racing points, Felipic is already in 10th place, up 8.
Oh, Nigel. Beavis is doing work right now. He's just overtaking Cotters around the outside through Sector 2 here. Nigel battling in this grid right now. He has a front row seat to Felipic making his way up the field, and Felipic has made up 10 positions. He's now into 8th ahead of Battle Mine. Battle Mine's made up a few himself. He's in that Renault. He's made up 3. He's into 9th position now. And there's been a very unfortunate outcome for Baza in this race. You hate to see it. Neon currently leading things.
Nigel, a very nice run on Battle Mine here as he comes around the outside of the final corner down towards the top of the straight. He does take P9, but the Renault does have the inside line, but he's not going to take it.
If anybody has voice comms with Neon, I'm going to make a very solid suggestion on behalf of the stewards here. You're going to want to tell him to get back into position very soon, because the stewards will disqualify him out of this race for not actually conceding the gap that was given to him by the bug. It is in the rules.
Beavis and Cotters side by side. Cotters backing out. Doesn't want to cause an incident. Down through turn 6. Side by side through there could be very, very dangerous for both cars involved. It's an easy place to catch an opponent's wheel and just send one or both of you into a spin.
Good to see Neon coming back into formation here behind Hurricane, where he began this race. And now things are where they should be, and that's what you love to see. Some good sportsmanship, some very good sportsmanship, and it's unfortunate to see Baza has now left the session. A very early retirement out of the Williams. Felipic, however, on these medium compound tires is on the hunt. Cotters will be looking like the first victim. However, Cotters has a fight of his own to win. Beavis in 6th position, holding off the charging Red Bull.
The two Alpha and Mares are entangled as well. XTXP has Moen to worry about. Moen with the ERS, both using it, but now No Conviction comes around the outside of his teammate, lightly taps the rear of XTXP. It doesn't take either car, and now Hennes is looking at the rear of all of this. No Conviction looks at the inside of turn 6, has to back out, sends Moen wide, and Hennes is just looking at this thinking, when is this going to cause an incident that allows him to pass the pair of these two halves? They need to be a little more careful.
Ruben.
They're losing time.
Ruben with no damage on the front end of that Ferrari right now. He's looking to cut his way back up through this field. He has the pace here around Brazil. He showed it in qualifying, and he's just along for the ride right now behind this big train. He's on these softs. He needs to get as much out of these right now as he can. He's got drivers in front of him. A lot of traffic on these mediums. Henners is in the same boat. They came together. They both fell through this grid together, and Dirk Chocolate right now is separating the My Felipe wheel to wheel right now. Cotters through turns 1, 2. Cotters on the inside. He's holding off the Croatian. I Felipe around the outside doesn't give him any option. Nigel looking to inherit a position as well. He's defending I Felipe on the inside. Can Nigel hold this? He's looking to take 2 here. Cotters has given us a fantastic view as Neon has now overtaken Hurricane at the front. We're going to take a look at this as it's a battle between the two wheel to wheel now. Neon on the inside. He has Hurricane fighting him. Now it's going to be through the inside for the Ferrari into the right-hander. Does Hurricane hold off for lead of this race? Neon does not want to let him go at all. What battles we're seeing here around Brazil, and this is what everybody wanted to see, Unicorn.
Yeah, well, we were saying how difficult it is to get past through that second sector, and Neon there has just proved it. It was almost impossible to get past Hurricane there, and it goes to show like how long he kept himself side by side is very impressive, but there's just no way through for a car in that second sector unless the opponent makes a mistake, and Hurricane just holding on. Very, very impressive stuff. His teammate now, Ruben, looking to try and overtake Dirk Chocolate down towards turn 1 into the Ferrari. But both have DRS and I think Crampy as well. But a late lunge on a Ferrari. Looking to try and get Dirk. Not quite making it, and Crampy has made it past Tim.
Well, Dirk holding on right now with Ruben. Ruben really needs to get through here, but Moen ahead in that Haas is really going to hold up a possible move around the outside for Ruben right now. He's showing a ton of pace in comparison to that Haas ahead, and now this is a very tricky exchange. They're both moving ahead of the Haas. Moen is now, he's on the inside. He's holding on to 15th position. Ruben with the switchback. He wants to follow Dirk through the madness that is this Sector 2, up and down. Oh, this is wild, wild racing. The rain is here. The drops are starting to fall as we get through the hill. And Dirk right now is still holding Ruben back. And this has really given Henners an opportunity to follow XTXP unimpeded. Dirk not showing that much pace right now, but Sector 2, it's just so hard to overtake, and we've got a few runs coming through as Tim, Beavis, they're so tight on this grid. The train is in full force. Neon still within half a second of Hurricane for lead of this race. Ruben, no opportunity for him just yet in that Ferrari to get a move on Dirk. Beavis now with a run. Ooh, he's on the inside of the AlphaTauri coming out of turn 4. Does he get this move done on Tim? Oh, it's so close. Tim holding with him. He wants that inside back through. And the rain. Oh, the rain is here, and it's going to make these conditions even more difficult. Even more difficult, Unicorn.
Yeah, it's slow rain now. The track doesn't appear to be getting any wetter anytime quickly, so I imagine...
Oh, Dirk's had an issue. He's off on the grass. He's lost 3 positions. Ruben and the 2 Haas drivers have now made it through, and Dirk's going to lose a second to those cars ahead, and he needs to maintain DRS. He needs to maintain DRS while he still can before it's disabled by race control, of course. With that rain coming down, it could only be a matter of time. Felipe now, 7th position. He has a new target in his crosshairs, and that's Tim in the AlphaTauri, and he's no stranger to seeing Felipe charging through now. Move on the inside through turn 1. Crampy and Beavis are exchanging as well up ahead. Wheel to wheel. Felipe getting ahead of Tim. Now has the front row seat to the action. Crampy has been overtaken by Beavis for 4th. This is going to be Crampy and Beavis. A drag race down into turn 4. Beavis on the inside. Does he hold Crampy here? Yes, he does, and this battling is exactly what Felipe needs. Nigel hunting down Tim as well.
Yeah, Nigel looking to attempt, but they're now in that second sector again, and this rain really not making a huge impact on the surface of the track so far, but we do have this huge queue in the middle of this grid, all the way down from 4th to 8th, with Cotters just sort of trying to tag along. You can tell that they're costing each other time because more and more cars keep adding themselves to the train. The two Mercedes still yet to pass Hurricane. He's doing very well to hold this lead up at the front. And like you said, DRS will get removed at some point if this rain continues to fall, and I imagine that it will. Now, I believe it's looking at the inside of Crampy down into turn 1, too far back to make the move work for him. Nigel's pretty close to the rear of Tim as well, as they come through the opening few corners, and DRS is still available to these drivers, and Nigel's got a very nice run on the AlphaTauri.
Oh man, it's a battle of which McLaren makes the move first. Crampy held there. Tim, a little deep. Ooh, a little bit less grip maybe on the exit here. Nigel's looking to make his way through. We saw Tim want to defend this on the inside last time around on this lap, but Nigel, so much traction right now. Can he do it? A little bit of a lunge coming out of Tim later on the brakes. They're so tight. A little bit of wheel banging right now. Oh my, look at this exchange. Ladies and gentlemen, is this not fantastic racing between these two? Now Tim back on the inside. Will Nigel have a good enough run here around the outside? They have Crampy and Beavis just ahead. Actually, Crampy has started to drop off of Beavis, and this is going to expose him to Filipich. We're going to jump on with the Racing Point on the inside already of the McLaren, and it could be that these softs are starting to fall off already. Will Crampy have a defensive move here? I don't think so. Nigel looking at Tim. He peeks that inside, but he's fallen off the AlphaTauri as well, and it could be the rain starting to come in and equalize things. It started to pick up now. Yeah,
Nigel, he just made the move a little bit too late. He won't be trying to make that mistake again. We're going to see him go for a much more convincing move into turn 4. But again, Tim a little bit later on the brakes here. And that is exactly what he wants to do. Now Nigel up the inside again through turn 5. But last time we saw Tim holding up the inside into turn 6. And later on the brakes, Nigel trying to give him what's best in the world. And now Tim very convincingly holds on to 7th place. We've got a yellow flag up in sector 1. Not quite sure who that was for, but Tim just holding that inside line through most of the corners. Really just holds them as Gadwin. Yeah, Gadwin.
Gadwin's had an issue. Jake has overtaken Neon, and I'm not entirely sure what's happened between the two Mercedes. Neon maybe having an issue resulting in that, and right now Tim has Nigel still just barking up his gearbox. It's an absolute hunt for the McLaren right now. DRS wide open on the rear wing. He's on the inside now. Beavis has come into the pit lane. This is going to inherit positions for everybody. And there goes Nigel through on the inside of turn 1. Tim, nothing he can do about this. And now the McLarens are 5 and 6. The question is, will Nigel dispatch Crampy soon as well?
Dirk's had an issue.
Beavis onto fresh softs.
Yeah, well, it's not wet enough right now for Inters, I don't think. So it's an interesting call. If these tires are dying off, like you said, we are seeing a few drivers start to slip back. And Filipich, if this is the case, he's on the perfect tire right now. He's gone from pretty much dead last on this grid. I think he started in the race about 17th, where his teammate is right now. But on the mediums, as these softs start to die out a little bit, he can keep going for those extra few laps before this rain starts to have a big enough impact to make that switch to the Inters worth it. The two McLarens now are having a little bit of adjustment for position. Nigel, he took Tim. Last lap, it took him a little while to do so. He's now pull ahead from the AlphaTauri, is now looking at his teammate pretty hungrily. Bajan has retired the car in the pit lane, but Nigel with a huge run of speed down into turn 1. Takes Crampy there, and Crampy's car appears to be inside Nigel's car right now, which is very interesting, especially as ghosting is off. So I think that might be a little bit of lag there.
Yeah, definitely connection error. That's the only way that the ghosting comes into play. Ghosting disabled in MRL, and a little bit of desync coming out of Crampy there, and Nigel will have to make that move once again. Unfortunately, it's Ruben now coming through with XTXP. These guys are locked in an absolute battle. They have been for a few laps. Ruben ahead now into turn 4. A little bit later on the brakes as well. A lock up. Ooh, a little bit of lag coming out of XTXP, I would think, as well. You hate to see these little desyncs happen. Every now and then these things happen whenever there's a driver leaving the session or something like this. Ooh, man, now, so this is what happened last time around. We saw Nigel hunting down Crampy coming out of Sector 3, and a little bit of ghosting action happening between the two. Ruben and Beavis are locked up in a fight right now. A serious battle between the two, and Ruben has really had to fight his way back through this grid, as has Henners. They came together, or something happened to the both of them coming through that first section of turns on the opening lap, and a little bit of a slip there coming out of Ruben. This could give XTXP the exact opportunity he needs. Ruben right now has fallen off of Beavis massively. Crampy and Nigel, they're continuing to exchange, and it looks like
They both
Crampy
just made a mistake.
Well, did they have I didn't have a look at it. Maybe you did, and there's some contact. Nigel's gone round.
Yeah, so Crampy went a little deep through turn 2, which let Nigel at the inside to turn 3, but then he, out of turn 3, had a bit of a traction error, and then obviously now Nigel falling down the order as he comes back on the track. Also, interesting enough, Ruben and Moen have gone onto the
Neon's just slid across the grass. He's just slid across the grass. He's lucky he was able to get that car slowed down, because if he hadn't, he might have just T-boned iFelipe as he came around the turn.
Yeah, I don't know what we're seeing here. I don't know if this is the softs just completely falling off, or whether we're seeing the track finally at a damp enough stage where it is intermediates. The front two now, Hurricane and Jake, have entered the pit lane. What are they going to pit for, though? Inters for Hurricane.
The only person that
Jake
can really
goes for
tell
Inter
you
too.
whether or not it's time for Inters is actually Beavis, or the drivers on the Inters themselves now, as Ruben, Moen, Mario, all on the Inters. Hurricane has now come in and fitted them as well, and Jake. And the thing here that I've always said is, I absolutely love when the rain comes at a time when you would normally or potentially see tire drop off, because then it becomes a confusing ordeal. Is it the tire degradation, or is it just the conditions of the circuit that are making things slidey, slick, less traction? And we've seen it throughout the season. We've seen it throughout the season where the wrong call has been made, and the question is, what is the right call? We don't know just yet, but the majority of this grid seems to think it is intermediates at this time. But again, majority of this grid was on foreign tires.
Yeah, I think they have made the right call as Neon and Crampy exchange places. Obviously, Neon having that slide now. DRS has been disabled, but before that as well, the pit strategy came up saying that Inters was now the strategy to go on, and that was at the end of this lap. So I think in terms of what the game thinks, these guys are going to lap early.
Beavis is also losing time to the drivers. So he's losing time to Jake, and and Tim and Cotters are gaining time to him. So I think we are at that time, as that race control has indicated. It's time. DRS is disabled. Majority of these racers now on the intermediates. Hurricane doing well, leading this race. Jake is now into second position. iFelipe onto the intermediates. Where will he come out now? You look at the position changes in this, and he's made up 15 positions, and he's likely to hold on to those, as pretty well anybody else has had to come in. Henners has had a retirement. We've had a VSC deployed, and he is retired just at the top of the hill.
I think that might be as a result of these wet conditions. He pitted for hards, it would appear. I don't know what caused it, but I don't know if that was a mistake. Neon as well is on hards as well, so I'm not sure whether, because they pitted a lap before, the game thought it was time for intermediate, sort of on that crossover. The game hasn't automatically switched to the intermediate compounds yet, and they've come into the pits thinking that it will have, and they've gone onto the hard compound tires, and I think that has got, you can see on Neon's car, he's struggling so much on these hards. It's definitely now wet conditions, and I think both Henners and Neon, obviously Neon to a lesser extent, have been a victim of just pitting and not changing the tires. And Battle Mine gets a penalty for speeding under VSC. It's also worth noting a lot of drivers got penalties for speeding in the pit lane, as Cotters and Crampy are side by side. The pair of them coming out of turn 11 into 12, and it is Cotters now ahead of the McLaren, but Crampy not done with Cotters yet. Looks up the inside through 13, 14, and obviously 15, but Cotters holds it around the outside, and obviously there's no DRS to keep Crampy in the fight, but Slipstream looks up the inside into turn 1, not going to be able to make the move, but Cotters deep, and Crampy now side by side with the Red Bull, and Crampy takes the position.
That was
Very
a
nicely done.
big mistake from Cotters there. Nice job from Crampy to really take advantage. Neon has come into the pit lane. He is serving a penalty in the pit lane, and he is getting intermediate tires fitted, and he is going to lose a massive amount of time in this race. Fortunately for him, it is a long race. Dark Chocolate right now ahead of Mario into turn 1. Here's a battle between Dirk and Mario coming through turn 1, wheel to wheel through turn 2. Dark Chocolate is ahead. Mario with a great exit though, lifting on the throttle a bit on the rear of that Red Bull, not able to do anything about it. Will he have a move on the inside into turn 4? No. He gets on the brakes and he holds off for now.
Yeah, the rain sort of making it a little bit more difficult to overtake. Now that Dirk is in 14th, Mario. Sector 2 is already very difficult to overtake through now in these conditions. You can see the rain, the spray as well hurting visibility. It just makes everything that little bit more difficult. Nigel and Ruben. We've seen Nigel have a nice run on the final few corners before now. Even in these wet conditions, Ruben's shown him the outside, but Nigel's going to give it a go. Around the outside of turn 1, Ruben a little bit later on the brakes. Nigel looking for the switchback, not finding it through turn 1 or 2. But he might have another opportunity down towards turn 4. Neon's joined the rear of the fight between Dirk and Mario. And he's looking to take them both around the outside of turn 1. Dirk moves to the right, almost hitting Neon to try and make a space for Mario. Mario out the inside of the Red Bull through turn 1. Now Neon looking for it through turn 2. Turn 3
this
as well.
is very daring. He was on the curb. He's got that front right really locked up with Dirk right now, and he's gone through on the inside. Has he held this? Yes. Yes, he has. He needs to look to hunt down Mario now, and that was a very daring move coming out of Neon there to get into 15th position. Beavis right now, 7th. He's looking at Cotters. And I want to know if we're going to see heavy wet conditions, because I feel like the rain is starting to pick up. The spray is really starting to pick up.
Yeah, I don't think on track, standing water is enough yet to warrant those full wet tires. But we're only we're not even halfway through this race yet, and it's very possible that we do get to that stage if this rain persists throughout the entire of the rest of the 36 laps.
Rampy right now. Sticking with Tim. iFilipich has really honed in on Jake and quite a few different battles. Just they're slowly developing here. Mario and Neon. You have Neon into 14th position. He's looking to hunt down a massive gap, 6.4 seconds to 13th. iFilipich now. Let's see what he can do in the racing point. Jake defending on the inside, but a great run coming out of him.
Ruben and Nigel down into turn 10. Not quite sure what happened between the two. I don't know if Ruben was late on the brakes, but they both just slammed into the wall.
A massive amount of damage for Nigel. No front wing. When I say massive. Ruben, fortunate, no damage. And I'd have to say Jake was almost saved by that safety car to hold on to second position here, but iFilipich got it ahead just as he had come across to say, yeah, Ruben. So Nigel now coming into the pit lane, getting that wing changed and serving a penalty as well. How unfortunate for him. VSC conditions on lap 18. That is, of course, the halfway point in this race. No full safety cars just yet, and I have to say I'm quite puzzled by that. We didn't see that many of them last week either, really, in the grand scale.
Ruben may have got away from the incident damage-free, but he didn't get away from it penalty-free. He just picked up a drive-throw, was speeding under the VSC, and now he picked up a 3 seconds for track limits warning as well.
Neon's had a retirement.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's happened there, but it's down the straight towards turn 6.
A big crash.
He must have bounced off a wall and just sort of landed there.
Yeah, we'll love to see the onboard of that. Figure out what happened.
Three-way fight for P4 right now. Tim defending Crampy, who's got Beavis on his tail. Crampy now looking for the move down into turn 4 on Tim. Looks around the outside. I don't think he's going to find the room. Tim has planted that car right in the middle of the circuit. No way for this McLaren to squeeze by the AlphaTauri. Beavis getting very close to the rear of the McLaren. Manages to avoid any contact. Visibility is limited, but he's going for the lunge.
Oh, wow.
Off the inside anyway.
What a daring move out of him, Crampy. Having some issues with his connection, it would appear. Beavis through. Oh, but Crampy back on the inside.
Again.
Yeah, he's really working here, and we have this beautiful view of it. Believe it or not, the rear of Tim's car.
And nicely done for the pair of them there to keep that nicely clean, even with the 2 lunches. Now, Crampy falling off a little bit, and Beavis, well, he's not finished. He's going after Tim. Tim was under pressure from Crampy before, but now it's the Renault of Beavis looking around the inside of turn 1. Not going to find it. He's going to look for that switch back again. He won't find that here, and Tim putting on an excellent display of defensive driving. He's looking to try and increase his place in the Drivers' Championship, but it's Beavis around the outside. Nothing is stopping him right now. The Renault from P6 to P4 in the space of a lap there.
Yeah, and he's been having a stellar drive. He started this race in 9th. He has made up 5 positions. Jake just ahead of him. 4 positions for the Swedish driver now in 3rd, and Ifilipic, who started this race in 18th, is into 16th. Now we have 16 drivers remaining in this race. Crampy right now, he wants to get Tim and get himself a couple of positions. Tim has actually lost a position. He began this race where Beavis is now sitting.
And Hurricane is doing very, very nicely in P1. Tim, that's going to hurt him in the championship. The pair separated by 3 points right now. That will not be the case if the race was to finish like this. And, well, Hurricane's lead right now is absolutely monumental. And it's, you know, what we saw of him during the early season. He was very, very, very quick in his opening 3 races. A bit of bad luck in the second half, but now he's looking to add a 4th win to his tally for the season. Crampy now is back on the rear of Tim, is again looking around the outside, but deja vu from a couple of laps ago. Tim in the middle, not letting Crampy have any sort of gap to force his McLaren into or to breeze through by, and he's slowing the McLaren down here, but either way, he is defending P5 very valiantly. He's lost P4. He doesn't want to fall any further down this grid.
Definitely not. Definitely not. He started this race in 4th. He's in 5th. He's got this McLaren absolutely pressuring him right now. Look at the rain. Look at the rain. I was going to say something else there. We have a ton of rain coming down here, and I think we're going to see wet soon.
Yeah, with 14 laps to go for the leaders, it could be possible that we get to that stage. And also, it's worth noting that this started 7 or 8 laps ago for, you know, it's when most of these drivers pitted for their inters. We've got a few people like Nigel who've had to pit since. But all over the top of the rear for Crampy, almost sending the pair off the track. They've held it, but it's definitely cost the McLaren time. It will have cost Tim time a little bit as well. But I don't know whether these inters will make it to the end. So regardless of whether we see full wets come into play, we might see another pit window for a fresh set of intermediates. But it's also worth speculating, like you say, whether we will see that full wet, because this rain, it's definitely got heavier. The track was already damp. Now it is getting, you know, much wetter. But is it wet enough? And if we do see that second pit window, and it's still raining like this, it's going to be a gamble. I think we will see a few people hop on to those blue and walled wet tires.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to see. Let us know in the chat. Let's take a vote if Yoda's able to give us one of those fantastic polls that he is able to set up. Wet tires. Are we seeing full wet tires in this race, or are we going to see another stint of intermediates, or do we go to the end? I mean, we have a few different perspectives. Are we going to see full wet tires, though? We want to know. Let us know in the chat.
It's a tough call on. You know, Jeff sort of works on, as far as I'm aware, Jeff works on a period of laps. That's how Jeff's messages are sort of calculated. And with a short lap around here, it might be different, you know, lap after lap as to whether, you know, intermediates are more viable or when that switchover comes.
Here we have him moving up the inside into turn 1. It's a wheel-to-wheel battle through turn 1 right now. Ruben on the inside. That's going to give the Renault the inside back through 2. But Ruben, with a very neat move, getting through on Battle Mine right now. Mario is looking to inherit a position as well. And the spray on the rear of these cars are coming off of Battle Mine right now, just into the cockpit, into this onboard view that we have with Mario right now. It's really making things seem like it's time for full wets. But as I say that, we have Hurricane, who has now gone for an undercut attempt on iFelipe here. He's gone on to fresh intermediate compound tires, and has this been a mistake?
Well, I said there was going to be risks and gambles, and that's one of them, because if we don't see the wet tires come into this, then that could work. But it strikes me as a very, very early undercut. It really does, because you'll have to take them to 12 laps, and if he's pitting after 10, surely you'd wait one more lap. Moen comes in as well. I think that might be a little bit early for the undercut.
And just, you know, the thing, you can hear this rain just coming down. And because you can hear, I don't know if it's the awnings over in the grandstands that we hear it in the game, or if that's how the audio is, but when these drivers are pushing, you can just hear that pitter-patter of raindrops on this chassis. I do believe that's what the sound is. And for starters, that sounds awesome. I think it's great. But the question is, it's really giving me this idea that these conditions are so wet. You look through the halo of this onboard shot right now, and it looks absolutely torrential, but Crampy doesn't care. Around the outside, and Tim has pulled the plug. He's going to go into the pit lane here. So Crampy, although he was going to look for a serious move around Tim there, Tim has said, okay, I need to get off these intermediate compound tires now. Crampy has caught up. It's just a matter of time before he makes that move. Clean cut. Jake has come in. Where is he going to fall out now? The Red Bull Cotters has dispatched him for 5th position.
Yeah, the surface water is really starting to build up now. It's starting to make the track look a little bit shiny, a little bit reflective in places. And
big shake coming out of Dirk Chocolate here. Moen on the outside looking for a move. Dirk says, I'm going to jump into the pit lane and get on the same strategy with the rest of the crew. Because Cotters, his teammate, is currently in 5th position. I think the only call for Cotters right now has to be to pit. He's got Jake absolutely crawling up his gearbox. The last thing Jake wants is for this to go poorly. He's on the inside right now. Oh, neatly done out of the Swedish driver there now, Jake. And of course, thank you very much to the chat for voting in the poll. Everyone's calling intermediates for the final stint of this campaign.
yeah, only 64% will go to that vote, so...
Oh no, Cotters has had an issue. He's slid coming out of the penultimate turn, or out of the final turn, I really should say. He's lost a significant amount of front wing. He's now taken a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. If I'm not mistaken, he will be serving a penalty of some capacity in the pit lane as well. No, he will not be, but he is going to be having to get that wing changed, which is something he did not want to have happen. I think he was going to be coming into that pit lane anyway, but he did not need that wing change. With Cotters now, he is going to drop as a result of that. And we'll have to see what he's able to do on this fresh set. Perhaps climb his way back into some good points.
Yeah, and I said it was a little bit early and for the undercut, and Ifalipis is still out. Is he going to come in at the end of this lap? He's not. He's still going. So maybe Ifalipis is of the mind that we might see wet tyres in the end of this race. We've got, 10 laps to go, including this one for Ifalipis, and if he pits now, he would drop down behind Hurricane, but if everyone has to pit again, and it's within the space that Ifalipis can hold off from, but never take it from Hurricane, then, well, he's made a very, very good strategy choice.
I'm absolutely shocked that nobody's taken an opportunity to try the wets.
It's too early. Too early. No way. I don't think, because the wet tyres, if it's not wet enough, they're appalling to drive. But it is getting. I think it is getting there.
No conviction.
No conviction having slide.
Oh, he had a big tempt of fate there, and he's really tempting it as he crosses now for the 13th lap on his set of intermediate compound tires. Mario, 2.1 seconds behind. He's faring okay on his set as well. Nigel, 8 laps on his, and we've got a yellow flag through sectors 1 and 2. And I think that may have been Rampy. Not entirely sure who that was and what it was.
6P. Don't know if there's any damage. There's no damage on the Alfa Romeo, but Tim has caught him a bit. Ruben's onto the wets.
Well, I want to see the gap when he comes out of the pit lane. Ruben's trying something. Definitely trying something. A big gamble out of him. As you said, it could be too early given the water.
I think there's also a dry line as well.
He's got Dirk behind him now. Let's see what Dirk's able to pull out on Ruben with these inners. He's on fresh inners. Ruben's also very quick, so I don't know. There could be a pace difference. It's tough. It's a tough call. It's a very tough call.
I think we're going to be at the switchover at some point in this race, but is it going to be early enough? Ifalipis is still holding a 10.5 second gap at the top, and he's on old inters now. Crampy looks at the rear of Tim. We've seen this plenty of times in this race. Crampy looking at the rear of Tim into turn 4, but again, the defense for the Alpha Tauri holding off the McLaren of Crampy.
Ruben kind of just dancing around that 9-second range of Battle Mine at the moment. And Dirk is starting. Yeah, Dirk just took a big chunk out of him, so maybe Ruben had an issue. I don't know. Maybe it's sector dependent. Maybe it's depending on where all that rain is. And right now, I don't know. Maybe we've hit that point. Look at Ruben. He's starting to take a chunk out of Battle Mine.
Yeah, I think Sector 1. I think Sector 1 is a little bit wetter. And I think the terrain, I don't know how accurate the rain model is, but I think Sector 2 is a little bit tougher for these drivers in the wet conditions. I think the terrain there doesn't help, and I'm wondering whether the slopes are impacting that. But the long straights in
Tim
Sector
looking at
1,
XTXP. Oh, wow. He looked at him. He got on the brakes. Rampy, nothing he could do. He's just taken a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. He's tapped the rear of Tim. Not enough to take any damage, but now Ruben, yes, I think the wets. We're getting to a point now where the wets could be the tire to be on, because Ruben is starting to find pace here. With 7 to 8 laps to go as Unicorn.
Yes, my Steam is just pretty disconnected me. Fingers crossed I can get back into this session pretty quickly.
Haven't got an invite. We'll have to get you an invite. Just a moment's time looking at Crampy right now. Sticking with Tim still. Tim sticking with XTXP, and XTXP in this position in 5th on these 15-lap-old intermediate compound tires, with Tim doing a good job to stick with him. And the question is, will Tim be able to pass him? And will Crampy net that position through on XTXP as well? Penalties right now. I have Felipic with 5 seconds, which is crucial for Hurricane in this race, considering Hurricane has 3 seconds and the fresher rubber at the moment. Jake, no penalties for the P3 racer. Beavis, XTXB, 3 seconds apiece. Rampy with 6 seconds. No conviction, 13 seconds with Cotters. 8 seconds presently. Gadwin, 5. Moen, 9. Battle Mine with 8. Ruben with 3.
Yeah, if I could get a new invite, please, Jeff. I think Steam in the UK might have just had a hit because apparently Nigel as well DC'd as well as Crampy. So I think all of us in the UK there just got hit with something, but I just wish we could get everyone back in.
Cotters is currently on the outside of Nigel's AI-controlled car as a result of that disconnect, and Cotters will take a position off of Nigel, and as you said, hopefully we can get all these racers back in here. Everyone should have their backup invitations to get in, and it would appear I forgot to send you one today. Apologies for that.
There we are. I am back in the session, so
I imagine we'll see a bit of a timing tower drop off here as Crampy has come back into the session. Felipic currently 16 lap old. Intermediate compound tires, 5 seconds of penalties. Hurricane himself has 3 seconds. Hurricane is taking the gap down right now. Question will be whether or not he can take it down enough with the penalty situation come the finale of this race should Felipic choose not to pit. Hurricane around the back marker of Battle Mine now. And Ruben has actually been overtaken by Dirk Chocolate, it would appear. So, Ruben, it would appear that those tires were the tire to be on, but the rain has completely calmed down, and I see you've had another issue.
yeah, Steam really not being my friend today. But yeah, Felipic trying to stay out there is it's a very, very bold move from him. 17 laps right now on those inters. It's going to be a very tough sell to get them to the end if that is indeed what he is trying.
Here now, Gadwin on the hunt of Nigel right now as a result of Nigel's disconnect, and you hate to see connections plague these races sometimes. Nigel and Crampy are here in reserve capacity. Crampy's back, however. Get you another invite there, yeah.
Yeah, this is a
very odd.
Yeah, like I said, I think it must be a UK Steam issue because Nigel and Crampy are having issues as well. Thank you for the invite, but fingers crossed this is the last one we need.
Now as okay, Crampy, P7 in control of his car. Mario hunting him down. Mario, however, on the very old rubber. Cotters in P10. Nigel's not going to be thrilled about losing out to the position he was in here, but he has also not been able to rejoin this session just yet. Cotters very close to the rear of no conviction, and there is a penalty equation between the two. Cotters actually has less penalties than no conviction right now, and Cotters is actually lifting on the rear of this Haas. So, could see no conviction come in.
Yeah, just a few laps now to the end of this race, and I think as it stands, Felipic has the win. He has taken those intermediates very far, and Mario as well has taken his 20 laps right now. So I think Felipic is going to stay out, especially as this rain has reduced in severity pretty significantly.
You think he's got a set of those Turkish Grand Prix hybrid inters?
He's just... I don't know what he's got in those
19 lap-old
tires,
inters. He needs to find something, though. He needs to find something because Hurricane is going to be a thorn in his side, I think, within the next couple of laps here. Those tires, given the wear on them, are going to see a drop-off, I do believe. Stellar drive from him now, once again. 17 positions gained out of the Croatian, leading things here. Of course, now reigning Season 3 champion. No conviction. Holding up Cotters still. This is where we saw them last time. Cotters a little bit of a slide now. Will he be able to make the overtake into 9th here?
Yeah, Hurricane is catching a little bit. Tim getting close to the rear of XXP as well, and that's good news for Crampy, who's looking to retake that 6th place he had before he got disconnected.
This race has been very... How do we... It's been a very unique exchange. There's been a lot of overtaking. We've had a few questions about strategy. We weren't sure if we'd see those wet weather tire, well, the
Hurricane's out
tires, and Hurricane. Well, what has happened with Hurricane? No.
Chocolate's going to be the first to see the car. He's completely backwards in the barrier on the right-hand side of the track.
Oh no.
That's a huge crash.
That is so unfortunate for Hurricane. So unfortunate for Hurricane here. So Crampy now. Wow. Beavis, actually. Let's look at Beavis now. Beavis is looking very closely at Jake. We're on the penultimate lap of this race. The rain is absolutely pouring down now as we get to the finale of this one. Less than half a second the gap. Everybody's going to gain a position as a result of Hurricane's unfortunate crash here on the penultimate lap of this race.
Yeah, and it was looking like he was so close to just really retaking that P2 in the championship.
Felipic is on his way into the pit lane. Unicorn, don't look now, but that
Crampy
back
takes
right,
Tim as well.
the back right tire on that Croatian's car is completely punctured.
Well,
this is huge for Jake. Huge for
Jake's
Jake.
gonna look for a pointer, and this brings Jake into that fight for P2 in the standings. So
Wow.
this is very interesting. What happens to XXP as well? XXP's right now 4th.
Well,
and he's on 21 lap hold on.
Felipic served his 5 seconds in the pit lane, so he's had to stay a little bit longer than he would have liked in that pit lane. The question is, what's the gap going to be? There's no way that he gets the win now. The big question is, does Jake take a penalty on this last lap, or does he take the win here, clear of it? Can Beavis do anything about it? Crampy right now, wheel to wheel with XTXP on the way into turn 1. He gets the move into 4th position. What a move, what a lunge coming out of Crampy. And of course, there is a major rubber differential, and we're on the final lap now of this race for those two. Jake coming up on the back marker of no conviction. Big question here is, will this give Jake the DRS to hold off Beavis to the line? I imagine he wants to win this at the line. There's a little bit of a shake coming out of the final major turn, realistically. No DRS, of course. Yes, the rain. The rain, how can I be so... Look at Jake now. Is he going to lose on the slipstream? Jake takes the win here in Brazil, and now it's just Felipic making his way up the hill.
Tim could get P4 as well, because he's got no penalties compared to Crampy and XTXP.
Oh, wow. What drama we're going to see unfold here. XTXP within a second of Crampy. Tim within a second of XTXP as we come out now into the final run to the line. How is it going to go? 4th for the McLaren, 5th for the Alpha, and 6th for the AlphaTauri? Or are we going to see that shakedown? Oh, I think you nailed it right on the head, Unicorn. Look at Tim. Here we go. Boom. Boom, boom. There we go. 4th position out of the AlphaTauri. Crampy is overtaken by the Racing Point of Mario Cotters to the line now. Where does he land in all of this? It's 8th, Nigel.
It's going to be 9th, though.
Well, Nigel has no penalties. Exactly. There he goes, the McLaren securing 8th, and Godwin now. The final racer to the line. Will penalties plague his points finish? It doesn't look like they will. Battle Mine now 12th. Dirk will be behind him, 8 seconds back and no conviction. Ooh, Battle Mine takes a 5-second penalty for something unserved. Dirk finishing 13th. He survived the league race. We know how he likes the rain. 14th for no conviction. Wow. That was a very interesting race. Gadwin, we're being told, had a puncture at the line as well. Wow. Just thrilling. Just a thrilling race. The finale. The wet conditions. Of course, the scene. Brazil, the penultimate round of the season, where intensity is high and there's a lot of points on offer in that midfield battle. Filipic, of course, the champion now, but there is a lot of points up for grabs behind him. And a lot of those points were grabbed today by, yes, there he is, Jake, from 7th to the win in the Mercedes. The Swedish driver will be thrilled about that one. Beavis in the Renault. What a drive. 9th to 2nd for him, and it was Filipic, the Croatian driver, who had to pit off the punctured tire at the end of that race. 18th to 3rd, rounding out your podium for round 16. The penultimate round of the European division. Tim 4th, XTXP 5th, Mario 6th. We have Crampy in 7th, Nigel 8th, Cotters in 9th with Gadwin rounding out the top 10 here. Gadwin in a reserve capacity over at AlphaTauri. Normally you'd see him on a Thursday in the Red Bull. Moen, Battle Mine, Dirk Chocolate, No Conviction, Hurricane, Ruben, Neon, Henners, Bajarn, and Bazal joined us for this one as well. What a fantastic, fantastic campaign that was, Unicorn. Let's have your take on it.
Yeah, there were some huge drives there. The guys, you know, Filipic, Mario, XXP, all trying to, you know, complete that one stop. XXP actually managed it. So, very, very impressive stuff for coming out of the Alfa Romeo. He managed to one-stop that from 20th to 5th, which is a huge drive. Mario, 19th to 6th. He did have the 2-stop in the end. And just, that was a huge, you know, brave strategy. You know, Jake 7th to 1st, Beavis 9th to 2nd. Some huge positional gains. And also the championship drive. I know we are all tied up in terms of who we've got as a winner. But, you know, Hurricane was set to take 2nd. Now, obviously, he won't overtake Angel, who wasn't here. Tim, I don't know where he's landed as a result of tonight's race, but he might go from 4th to 2nd this standings. And obviously, Jake with the win, he's going to jump ahead of at least Hurricane in the standings. So he enters himself nicely looking for that P2 in the standings. So there are 4 drivers now in a very, very tight-knit fight for P2 in the standings. And that race, well, if you were looking at the points, was very dramatic from that standpoint as well, but on track as well. That race, that wet weather coming in, we knew it was coming. We didn't know when, we didn't know how severe, but it came down. It came down pretty hard, and instead of getting harder and harder, it sort of stopped all of a sudden. We thought we were going to see wets, and we never did. We instead saw what was a drying track. If this was, you know, a Saturday night and we were doing an endurance drift, I think we would have seen, dries come back into that race if we'd have gone for another, you know, 36 laps. But a very, very dramatic penultimate race for the EU grid here, and well, I'm sure the rest of this week's racing, as well as next week's Abu Dhabi race, will be just as exciting.
Okay, we are going to figure out a raid real quick, of course. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. We hope you join us for the raid, of course. And, well, we have a ton of racing left this week. We have Abu Dhabi this Saturday. I can get that out of the way. We know what we're racing. We know what we're racing this Saturday. That's Abu Dhabi, 100% endurance race. But Thursday, we have 3 more MRL rounds of Brazil. That will be round 11. I can't remember for Oceanic for the life of me. Sorry, boys. But yeah, it's because of all of these different grids being... Anyway, we've got Oceanic, Tier 2, Tier 1 action coming to you on Thursday. We have the Club Division on Friday. We've got the Endurance race on, of course, Saturday. So, of course, if you're looking for more wheel-to-wheel action, we appreciate you all hanging here. Hit that follow button if you're new. My name is Strifium. Joining me, as always, has been, of course, the lovely Unicorn. And we are going to be raiding Mr. Damon Plays today, so please jump in and join us for that raid, because he is quite the entertaining man, and, well, wish him well. And we will see you all, of course, on Thursday. All right? Everybody have a fantastic, fantastic evening.